Hey, welcome in. Well, if you haven't noticed already, the world is becoming more and more ridiculous by the day. Here's the headline from the Daily Wire. Temporary Washington football team name. Washington football team. It could become permanent. They could just be called Washington football team. Isn't this fantastic? What a great world we're living in here. What a brave new world we're moving into. Now, why would they decide to just call it Washington football team? Well, because, obviously Redskins was terribly offensive, except actually apparently to Native Americans who actually didn't care. But I guess people going to Ivy League universities who don't watch football were very offended by it, so it has to be changed. Washington football team. This is, it's perfectly utilitarian and communist, right? Just Washington football team. It can't offend anybody. Nobody can be offended by this. Although I think they might be smart to put non-binary in there, something like Washington non-binary football team or Washington football non-binary team or something. I think they should get non-binary in there just to be safe. Just to be safe. And I guess this is going to have to keep going. What about Dallas? Dallas Cowboys. That's got to be offensive. Surely that's offensive. Hopefully we can look forward to Dallas football team. I mean, this is just part of the disinfecting of culture, the sanitization of culture. Just, the move towards the bland Marxist remaking of society. But anyway, let's see what they have to say about this. The NFL team formerly known as the Washington Redskins may permanently change its name to the Washington football team. The temporary moniker the franchise landed on while searching for a permanent name. No, I mean, that's a perfectly utilitarian, bland name for the future. Washington football team. Let's see. Dan Snyder, the owner of the team, told the Wall Street Journal in an email ahead of the Sunday game against the Philadelphia Eagles, it was possible the interim team name could become the permanent designation for the NFL team, whose former name was the subject of an on and off controversy for a number of years. Well, I guess they just figure, Washington football team is not going to offend anybody. That's safe. They won't have to change. They won't have to rebrand again or anything like that. Nobody could find anything offensive in that. And of course, because of that, everybody will love them, right? Because that's how it works. If you just take the life and the flavor out of everything, nobody's offended, and then everybody loves it, right? Yeah, I'm not sure that actually does work. And of course, this is just part of the larger movement to make everything antiseptic. Comedy, movies, music, sports, everything. And let's see here. They're really on top of this. Quote, if the Washington football team name catches on and our fans embrace it, if the fans embrace Washington football team, then we would be happy to have it as our permanent name, wrote Snyder. I think we have developed a very classy retro look and feel. If by retro he means like before people cared about football, they've probably succeeded. All right. And anyway, it says, quote, so in the spirit of inclusivity, we made the decision to move forward. We want our future name and brand to stand for something that unifies people of all backgrounds and to continue to be a source of pride for the next 100 years or more. So inclusivity means bland and something that unifies people of all backgrounds or unifies nobody. That's a possibility, isn't it? Just going to interrupt for 1 second to say if you like this content, subscribe so you can see more. Thanks a lot. And how much does a name really matter? It's not so much about that. It's a statement. This is a kind of politics. When you have a name like Washington football team, it stands for more than just the name of the team itself. It also stands for, again, this kind of disinfecting of our culture, for this, completely bland, inoffensive, antiseptic view. And I think that's something that people can feel, right? It might unify people in just turning away from them, saying, I don't want to give them my money. Oh, and here they point out, too, that even that name is problematic because Washington is part of the system, right? The systematic racism. So she says here, Why wasn't this just, quote, the football team? That's what's going to happen to everything. It's like you'll be saying, oh, I bought a new car. And then you won't be able to say new because there are people that don't have new cars. And then that would upset them. So you just have to call it car. I got car. That's what you're going to have to say. Here's Steven Crowder. Pretty sure since George Washington is also canceled, the team name is still racist. They should just call themselves football team. Yeah, you see, it never stops. That's the thing with this leftism, this creeping leftism and cultural Marxism, is that it's never happy. It's never satisfied. It always needs more enemies. It needs to keep with its magnifying glass, finding smaller and smaller things to be offended about. Without finding, oppressors, it dies. That's the fuel that keeps it going. Anyway, you can see how corporations, basically it's just a corporation, right? All the sports leagues and the teams and everything, how they're becoming really risk averse, but only on one side, apparently. They only seem to want to avoid offending the left wing, like socialists and Marxists and crazy people. Everybody else, they don't care. They don't care what they think. But anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe, like, and share. There's also the podcast if you just want to listen. It's on every platform. Thank you very much. I will see you next time.